In 1959, 9 experienced Russian hikers set off into the Ural Mountains. They never returned. Their abandoned camp was found weeks later with the tent ripped from the inside. And then their bodies were discovered scattered around the mountainside, some barefoot, some with crushed skulls and missing eyes or tongue. What happened to the Dyatlov Pass hikers? Join me as we explore the strange evidence, bizarre theories, and unsettling truth behind this unsolved mystery. It was February 1959, and the group of 9 had been skiing and hiking for several days. Their route took them through dense woodland and across open icy slopes at an elevation of over 11,000 feet. It was bitterly cold, about minus 30 degrees Celsius. But despite the freezing temperature, when their bodies were found, some of them were nearly naked. There were no obvious signs of a struggle, no evidence of a human or animal attack. And yet some had died with their skulls crushed, as if by an enormous force. Their clothes were torn, and some were radioactive. When the news broke, it was assumed that they'd simply got caught in an avalanche. But there was no avalanche, and there was no snow. Others suggested the hikers had been the victims of a military test gone wrong, perhaps a secret weapon or a new type of tank. But there was no evidence of an explosion, and no unexploded ordnance was ever found. Perhaps the most disturbing piece of evidence was the infrasound. What is infrasound? Well, as the name suggests, it's sound waves below the range of human hearing, between 20 Hz and 20 kHz. You may not be able to hear it, but you can certainly feel it. Infrasound is produced naturally by the Earth's tectonic plates shifting or by large bodies of water crashing. But it can also be man-made, a byproduct of machinery or engines or weapons testing. And here's where things get really strange. Infrasound has the ability to induce panic in humans, causing feelings of dread and fear without any apparent cause. There have been cases of entire cities being thrown into chaos by the low rumble of machinery. From nearby factories or power stations, people would experience anxiety, insomnia, and even seizures. In extreme circumstances, infrasound can be lethal, inducing heart attacks or strokes in perfectly healthy individuals. But back to the hikers. Was this mysterious force strong enough to rip open their tent from the inside and kill 9 experienced outdoorsmen in their sleep? Well, the Russian army was certainly using the Ural Mountains for weapons testing in 1959, and while there is no direct evidence to support it, it's possible that an ultra-low frequency sound weapon was being tested. Even stranger is the fact that the hikers' clothing contained trace elements of strontium-90 and gamma radiation, indicating that they'd been exposed to high levels of radiation, perhaps from a nearby nuclear blast. And that would certainly explain the mutations found in some of the bodies, missing eyes, missing tongue. But if it was a military test, why were the bodies left out in the open? And if it was a weapon of some kind, why wasn't the tent sliced open from the outside? Even more confusing is the fact that some of the hikers had set off extra rations and made several fires, suggesting that they'd intended to stay put for at least a couple more days. So what happened to the Dyatlov Pass hikers? Well, the official Soviet investigation concluded that the group had been caught in a sudden avalanche, causing the infrasound-induced panic that led to them tearing open their tent and trampling each other in their desperate escape. Some higher-ups, however, believed the truth was far more sinister, a compelling natural force that neither they nor the scientists could explain. What really happened on that mountain? No one knows, and maybe no one ever will. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, check out my others for more forgotten mysteries. And remember to subscribe for new episodes every week. What do you think happened to the Dyatlov Pass hikers? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you next time.